There's a video for a Honda Civic. This is a 2.2 diesel Type S GT AF59ADW. Car's covered 52,000 miles, comes with a wonderful service history, and it looks absolutely superb. It's fitted with the 18-inch alloys, but it also benefits from the Sat-Nav and hands-free telephone system, which is a fairly major upgrade on the car. Finished in grey metallic, which looks absolutely fantastic on the car. It really needs to be seen in the flesh to be appreciated this vehicle. I'll go around the car for you and just pick up any little marks that I can find prior to coming to see us. So looking around the front of the car, fog lights and headlight there, absolutely fine. There's a little bit of stone chipping, very light, where stones just touch the paint. Looks like it's not gone into the paint. Obviously the plastics doesn't hurt on those, but it's fairly minimal. Bonnet likewise, again a couple of sort of light stone chips. A couple have been touched in previously by the last owner, but generally very good. But unfortunately you simply can't get away from the odd little stone chip now and again. Revised grille on the front of the car. Obviously it's got the mesh in there, which sort of Type R style as well, but looks really fantastic on the vehicle. Lenses and fog lights on the side, again absolutely crystal clear and no imperfections on there. Come down the flank just to show you, really crisp. You can't see an indentation on that side at all. Front offside wing completely clean, no dents, scratches or otherwise. Front alloy wheel very good, a little bit of curbing just on the outside edge of the wheel there, just see where it's caught. Tyre, we've got a Bridgestone on there. It's got a full set of Bridgestones, which is always a very good sign of ownership on these cars, and plenty of tread on there. Wing mirror housing unmarked, no cracks or condensation in the little repeater there. But the panel work really is very crisp indeed. Rear tyres got loads and loads of tread on it. Rear alloy generally good again, just on this one just been caught just on the edge there, and down here as well I think just a little bit on there as well. Got colour-coded parking sensors fitted into the vehicles on this age car as well, so that looks really good. It's a really chunky looking car from the back. I really do love these cars. So this grey colour really suits the car, especially with these alloys. Just come down the flank here again, just to show you, it's pretty much mirror smooth. Can't see an indentation in the panel work at all. So rear tyre again, pretty much like new in terms of tread. Alloy wheel on this side, it's got a few more because obviously near side, so it has got a fair bit there, just on the outside edge. Nothing on the spokes, but it has been caught. So just to make you aware of that. Mirror housing again, just looks like it's been touched at one stage. Someone's touched it in there, and a little bit down there as well. And obviously this is where people park them, they get tapped by people, but just like it's pretty minuscule, but it is there. Final tyre again to finish off the Bridgestones, tons and tons of tread again, and that alloy ironically looks absolutely unmarked. So there we go, that completely contradicts what I just said. Anyway, but externally the car's in absolutely super condition. Just the odd little stone chip here or there, and a couple of the alloys with a couple of light curb marks on them, but it really is a fabulous looking car. Right, coming into the boot area here, absolutely huge boot on the Civic. Parcel shelves there, all intact. It's all in really fabulous condition back here. Whoever's had the car's kept the car in really top condition. You obviously got 60/40 fold on the rear seats there. Power outlets up nice and high there, and then you've got this little recess as well, so you've got extra storage area underneath, and if you pop that back, pop it down, you then got extra depth of the boot as well. I'll show you into the back of the car. It doesn't really look as though the back seats have ever been sat in all honesty. It's all in very fine order back there. Car benefits from a full set of mats in the vehicle as well, but it's in super condition. I come to the front now, driver's door card, absolutely super condition again. Even the trim here, which can, on the previous models, you should mark very easily. They give them a much tougher paint in them now, so they can sort of withstand it much far better. Type S, little kick plates down there. And then driver's seat in absolute super condition. Likewise, passenger seat, absolutely excellent. Just obviously GT package, part of it includes this panoramic roof and get your electric blinds on lovely summer's days. We will get one, I promise you. You close it, days like today, fairly typical, you have it open. Alright, so inside the car now, I just want to quickly show you, we've got a full owner's manual pack, including the navigation system control manual as well, and the original locking wheel nut set, which came with the car from new. Inside the car in absolutely excellent condition. It really is in very, very fine order here. Let's pull those back a second. So this is the Sat-Nav system which has been fitted. Obviously it's Honda option, fitted from new at the factory. You can tell it because it's got this big rotary knob on the front of the dash there, and that then gives you access to things like, you know, audio and climate control as well if you want to do it in that fashion. But it's in very, very good condition. You can do the air conditioning the conventional way, pressing the buttons here. I'll just quickly mention GT package. You're looking at dual zone climate control, panoramic roof, front fog lights are the obvious things, cruise control, auto lights, auto wipers, power folding mirrors. Don't be fooled by people selling you a Type S, which is a standard model, and claiming it's a GT when it's not. We've heard this loads previously, and people are travelling miles to go and see cars which aren't what people are telling them. Just homing on the dashboard here, we've got 52,764 miles. This video was done after the video that follows, bizarrely enough, but there we go. But everything is in really, really good condition in here. You know, they are absolute super cars to drive, and whoever's had the car previously has kept the car in really, really lovely condition. Alright, this is a video for a Honda Civic. It's a 2.2 Type S GT. Car is registered AF59ADW. Mileage at the start of this brief road test is 52,752 miles. Reason we now do these road tests is basically because we're selling to people all over the near continent and the extremes of the UK. It's just to give people reassurance if they're going to be coming a distance to us, that the car drives as it should, or if there's any issues, I can let you know about them prior to making the trip to us. What I try and do on them is basically kind of do exactly the same as you do yourself when you come and see the car. When you go on the test drive, you'll be going on the roads exactly like this in our new rural setting, so the roads are very quiet indeed. This is about as busy as it gets. Basically this is rush hour, so it's about 6 o'clock at night. But basically I'll try and do the same as you'll do yourself and report back on anything I feel is necessary. So starting with the engine, obviously a low mileage CTDI engine, lovely units, and this one is in absolutely superb order. It revs very, very crisply indeed, very smooth, settles to a very, very even idle. So it's coming to a stop now, and you know, the Rev Counter is moving, saying exactly the same. Clutch in, clutch out, doesn't deviate at all. There's no change in, there's no vibrations that shouldn't be there. There's no strange noises, no odours, no nothing actually from the engine. It's, you know, it's a really brilliant engine in these cars. Relating to the engine and anything else for that matter, absolutely no warning lights on the dashboard at all. Engine then goes through clutch and gearbox. Clutch bites absolutely perfectly. It's exactly the right point on the clutch pedal in terms of its travel, and the clutch actuation is smooth, no sort of crunching or clicking from the clutch pedal at all. That then goes through to the gearbox, which is a typical Honda gearbox, brilliantly done. Cable operated through to the gearbox itself, but you'd never believe it. Certainly using the gear lever, Honda managed to achieve a really very high quality, very accurate gear change, whereas others, notably kind of French cars and Vauxhalls and that kind of stuff, can be quite vague and notchy. These are absolutely brilliant. It's just like sort of flicking a switch, but you find it finds its way home every time without fail. It's just a lovely gearbox, and typical of Honda, who in my opinion are rightly lauded for how well they make their engines. Everyone knows that, but their gearboxes are second to none. They're absolutely brilliant. not just in terms of use, but in terms of longevity and reliability. Basically, the steering on the car, wait till I get to a bit of speed just to show you that there's no vibrations back to the steering wheel at all. It tracks absolutely bullet straight. It feels as tight as a drum, and that's not always the case. You get some cars where they've just been driven around town, they can feel a bit loose and vague, whereas this one, it just has that a really lovely sort of tightness about it. As soon as you turn the wheel, it wants to turn in, and allied to a really great chassis, it's a lovely system to use. A lot of these sort of electric power steering systems can be quite vague and a bit sort of artificial feeling, but this genuinely has a really nice feel about it. Suspension, obviously you can hear it go over bumps, but there's no kind of hint of wear in it. What I'm looking out for, as much as you would do yourself, would be things like kind of these little aftershocks where you get little sort of tremors and little sort of wobbles and vibrations, which suggest that there might be a little bit of wear in the system. But I can genuinely feel and sense nothing at all. It's really, really good. What's lovely about them, on the Type S, is that it's slightly wider track than the standard Civic, but ironically it's one of the best riding of the lot, even though it's very sharp handling. It's very, very comfortable indeed. While driving speed now, again, just want to show there is no vibration through the steering wheel, but also I'm listening out for kind of wind noise that shouldn't be there, where there might be kind of a seal gone or otherwise, but I can't detect anything. It's very, very quiet indeed in here. Always been a civilised car, and I've driven the length of the country in absolute comfort. A really nice car. Brake pedal on the car, lovely and solid, right at the top of the brake pedal, bites really well. Nothing to report there at all. Coming inside the car, you've got this wonderful, wonderful dashboard. This one's slightly rarer because it's a GT model, which doesn't come with Sat-Nav standard, but this one has had plenty of money spent on it, on top of the exterior with the upgraded alloys. Whoever had the car first has invested in the Sat-Nav and the hands-free telephone system in the car, which is quite an expensive option. And it works brilliantly, and onto this simply brilliant dashboard. It is an absolute work of art. So you've got this lovely high-up display for the Sat-Nav system. All the pixelation's absolutely perfect on it. And it's exactly the right point on the dashboard, so you can see very clearly without having to take your eyes off the road hardly at all to take in that information. Down here, then you've got the major controls, this big main control switch here. Again, every single button I've pressed thus far has worked absolutely superbly. They are beautifully made cars, they really are. You can control your air conditioning there, or you can do it from here, or you can actually do it by voice activation. I tend to use the main control here, I just find it easier to use, but it all works perfectly, and it's blowing out ice cold air. I always check the air conditioning on these drives just to check it's all functioning, but it all works perfectly. Worth pointing out, obviously this is the facelift version, so all this stuff here is now got a new texture to it, much higher quality. The earlier Civics had like a shiny affair, which looked very nice when they were new, but if you weren't too careful, fingernails could scratch them very easily indeed. But this is far less prone to anything like that. My favourite part of the dashboard is by country mile this high up speedo readout with this 2-tier dashboard. Basically means, as I'm driving along now, I'm looking at that car in front, and I can take in the information on the speedo without having to take my eyes off the road. It's just so well done. And then you come down to this more conventional section of the dashboard, big dominating rev counter, information display like on a hologram floating effect in the middle of it. Temperature gauge, third of the way up the gauge, which is exactly where it should be. And fuel gauge the right hand side, and as I said, no warning lights at all on the dashboard. All the plastics and perspex there, very clear. I can't see a single mark on there at all. Auto lights, auto wipers, all works perfectly well. But really, looking in here, and given the fact that we've not even cleaned the car yet, it only came in this afternoon. This is my first opportunity to get into the car. It's in very, very good condition. It really is. It's been very nicely looked after car. as you know, as the service history of the vehicle sort of testifies. So just going to concentrate on this junction a second. Oops, easy, there we go. But the whole car, I mean, I genuinely love them. You know, I thought we'd get bored of them by now, but I can't. They're just such a dynamic car. You know, the Audi A3 in front. You know, they're very nice cars, but they don't have anything like the reliability of these Hondas. And what this has, which I love, is just a real sharpness about its drive. And you know, some people criticise the ride for being too firm. I think they've got it absolutely spot on, especially if you're living in the country or living on sort of driving up and down A roads. You know, turn into corners, whereas the car front will just sort of be softer but keel over a little bit. These corner much flatter, they have a real precision about them, and they're just genuinely good fun. You know, most cars are, you know, just variations on a theme. You get in there, you've got a dashboard here, and you've got a centre stack there, and they're just basically variations on a theme. This couldn't be anything other than a Honda Civic inside. But what it is beautifully made, utterly reliable, and you know, it works. You know, it's ergonomically, it's very good indeed. You know, once you've sat in here for a couple of days, everything falls to hand. They've got lovely little detailing that, you know, like the centre bit here really harks back to the early 80s Honda Preludes, of which I've still got one, and I love the fact that this is still part of their design. But it's all there for a purpose, and it all works absolutely brilliantly. You've got an engine which will deliver, you know, it would obliterate most hot hatches from 10 years ago in terms of performance, and yet will give you a very, very easy 50 to the gallon. And obviously it's TTDI engine, so you've got no cam belts. It's a cam chain, so no scheduled change on those at all. We've never done one, even with monster mileages, and no DPF filters on these either, which is something that's causing lots of people an awful lot of headaches. Anyway, basically that kind of brings to the end of the video. So I hope it's been of help to you. If I've missed anything out on the video, then please don't hesitate to call us, and we'll answer any questions you may have.